Is the contract that Leona made with Azul the same one that Ruggie was able to get potions with? Or is it something different that history doesn't tell us about? Early on in Chapter 3, Leona says that he has made a few deals with Azul, and has never put his power up for collateral, insinuating that he and Azul have had multiple contracts, one of which was likely the potion for Ruggie in Chapter 2. But at the end of Chapter 3, Ruggie says that Leona has made a contract, singular, with Azul before, and helping Jack and the others is a way for him to get rid of it, singular, as if the potion contract from Chapter 2 is Leona's only experience with Azul. So which is it? The Japanese language does not really have plurals in the same way that English does. In the cafeteria scene, for example, the first part of Leona's sentence just says that he has made a deal or deals with Azul before, not specifying whether he has only done so once or multiple times. The latter half of the sentence confirms that he has done so more than once, as he says he was forced to fulfill unpleasant conditions every time. So it does seem that they have a history together that is not being explained. When the topic comes up again with Ruggie, it is not technically specified within his sentence that Leona has contracted with Azul more than once, but we know he has from that earlier conversation. Ian translated this scene as Leona getting rid of just a single contract, despite confirming earlier in the same chapter that he has made more than one. The EN server does not have a very good track record with continuity, translating one word as multiple different things throughout the same story more than once and possibly making this just another example of the importance of proofreading. But what if this wasn't a mistake? Does Azul keep contracts that have been successfully fulfilled? And, if so, do they hold any power? If Azul's 500 to 600 contracts represented every deal that Azul has ever made, then Leona wasn't taking the opportunity to get rid of just one contract, he was getting rid of all proof that he has ever contracted with Azul at all. But if Azul doesn't keep fulfilled contracts, only those that legally allow him to hold on to collateral, that means that Leona's contract from Book 2 was never complete. He either failed to fulfill the terms and Azul confiscated his collateral, or it was still ongoing. Grammatically, JP Ruggie can technically go both ways. And that gets into another question, because Leona says directly that he has never put magic up for collateral for any of his contracts with Azul, much like the prefect surrendering Ramshackle Dorm. Azul designed his unique magic himself as a way to take others' talents away from them and use them for himself, and the disintegration of a contract returns that talent to its owner. But does the disintegration of a contract that was arranged through another form of collateral return that collateral to its owner as well? Would Azul have technically been able to keep Ramshackle Dorm if the prefect failed in their task, even though the original contract was gone? The prefect fulfills their conditions by the deadline, so we do not see this tested. It all hinges on what those 500 to 600 contracts are. Every deal that Azul has ever made in his life, or just those that failed. Arguments in favor of them being his entire collection are, up to 600 people failing to fulfill their contracts with him over the course of 2 to 3 years, as Azul perfected his unique magic in middle school, seems like a lot. The contracts could technically be future blackmail, if there is someone like Leona who really does not want the details of his dealings to be revealed, making them into another form of power that it seems unlikely Azul would voluntarily throw away. As EN players are at the mercy of localization, I reached out to JP server players for their opinions, and the unanimous consensus was that they are meant to represent every contract that Azul has ever made. In favor of them being only failed contracts, 600 contracts might seem like a lot, but 225 of those are just from the opening of Book 3. It's insinuated that this is the first time that Azul has gone this big this quickly, but we don't actually know, and it's not impossible that he was experimenting with increasingly large groups of people for months or years. The risks of holding on to completed contracts seem like they should outweigh the benefits. We don't know what happens to a contract once it is fulfilled, but it seems unlikely that Azul would hold on to them unless they held some form of power. The more contracts he is protecting, the larger his only weakness. It seems like he wouldn't want to keep superfluous contracts around and draw more attention to his weak point unless he absolutely had to, in which case, what kind of power do they hold after their conditions have been met that justifies that risk? Azul does not seem to suffer any consequences from tearing up his own contracts, making it unlikely that he would have been holding on to every contract he has ever made, unless there is something going on that we don't know about. And this is always possible, even if they don't hold any power. Maybe he just enjoys the nostalgia. To return to the question, one of the contracts that Leona has made with Azul likely acquired that Chapter 2 potion for Ruggie, but a lot has been going on that we don't know about. What has Leona been putting up for collateral? Has he always met the conditions of these contracts, or has he failed? If he has ever failed, was that mysterious collateral returned to him when he disintegrated Azul's contracts, or was he only destroying evidence? Is Azul somehow forced to return collateral that is a physical object when a contract is annulled? Does Azul even keep successfully fulfilled contracts and, if so, why, when the contracts themselves are his only weakness? I wish I had more answers than questions. I do not, but it is very fun to think about.